Okay. Hi,
Let's do this.
Marco. Good
How are you,
afternoon.
Christine?
How are you?
I'm great. How are you? I'm really glad to be speaking to you today.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you for, for responding to our request to get to know you deeper. And yeah, so let's start. For Marco, for those people, I know you are known, but for those people who don't know you yet, who's Marco and what is RedGrid?
it's it's a really, I mean, it's a hard question, as that being the first question that you're going to ask me. And I think, look, I think the reason why it's hard for me, and it might be similar for you, Christine, as well, given the kind of the discussion that we had before we jumped on this, is because I think this question really relies on identity and kind of the way in which you are brought up. And I kind of had a bit of an unusual upbringing. I was born in Italy, but ever since I was born, I moved country. So every 3 years, my family and I just packed up everything and just moved across the world. So I was born in Italy, but then I moved to Paris. I lived there for 3 years, then went back to Italy, then went to South America for 3.5 years, then went
Wow.
back to Italy, and then I moved to Australia. And really that that
Wow.
thing of really resetting the button every single 3 years has kind of made quite hard for me to answer these questions in terms of really who is Marco. Marco really is a walking question mark that goes across. And but I'm in Melbourne right now, and
Yes. So how
and I
long have you
think
been in Melbourne? 5 years, right?
so. I've been in Melbourne for 5 years, correct?
Okay.
And I've been working at RedGrid, and we're a startup. And I think
Mm-hmm.
what drew me to the startup world is, in fact, I think somehow connected to my upbringing. The whole uncertainty, not knowing where I would live in the next subsequent years, kind
Right.
of led me to really seek uncertainty. And I think there is nothing more uncertain than a startup. And so here I am working in a startup, feeling at home, feeling at ease
Uh-huh.
with uncertainty.
Wow, I love it. It means that you're not afraid to the unknown, which is quite very interesting to discover, Marco.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I look for ways. I seek uncertainty, and hopefully along the way I can find people like me that find comfort in it, and then together, we can create something great.
That's amazing. So Marco, what does RedRid do, and what do you stand for actually as a person?
Um, all right, I'll start with the latter. What do I stand at as a person, or maybe I'll the I feel like the most important thing for me, it's really being about how do I build great relationships in my life. And
Mm.
it became really important for me, especially because of my upbringing, kind of moving across the world. Really creating great relationships and long-lasting relationship has become a life purpose for
Mm-hmm.
me. And that's why I'm so fortunate to have friends that live in South America, that live in
Yeah.
Europe, that are in
Wow.
here, and
Mm-hmm.
really finding those great relationships and nurturing them, and just feeling safe being yourself around those people. I think that's really the key thing that drives me. And the work that we do at RedGrid is somewhat related to this. We've got a big vision, and that vision is to touch every single person. And the way in which we want to do that is by allowing them to access clean energy
Clean
wherever they are in the
energy.
world. Clean
Mm.
energy, right? So we want to provide renewable access to renewable energy to every single home. And along the way, we want to create communities that kind of together really are empowered to change the world. And also we want to develop technology that helps solve the planet's environmental issues. And there is clearly a lot of environmental issues. So there
Mm-hmm.
is there is lots to do.
Yeah, yeah, I totally can resonate. So, what do you mean by clean energy? If for those people who don't know yet, how to distinguish what is clean energy?
So in very simple terms, we've got fossil fuel energy that is being created by burning millions of years old things that are found on Earth, and they release carbon emissions, and those carbon emissions then basically go up to the ozone layers, and that the main issue that we have with that is that creates problems like climate change, rising sea levels and temperatures across the world. And what we're seeing is that actually the solution is already here. It's in the sky. It's a big yellow circle, but also works with wind. And basically what we are doing is that we're trying to harness, the power that comes from the sun and make it available to as many people as possible. And that's what clean energy is. It's clean because it comes from the sun, and it is sustainable. It just happens all the time. It's not finite. And that's what makes it clean. And that's awesome, right? To be working with such a
wonderful creation there, to understand how do you differentiate if it's coming from the clean energy and not is even amazing, because we're not conscious of that. We're not conscious of, and
absolutely. No.
Your team has created a technology which allows people to, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
And yeah, connected to that, basically what we do at RedGrid is that we allow people, everyday people like you, like me, to use energy when it is the cleanest and greenest on the grid, right? Because the grid is made up basically of different sources of power. You have the fossil fuel power plants that burn the fossil fuel and give you the energy, but there is also that source of energy, that clean energy that comes from the sun, that also is part of the grid. And we can tell you, at what time of the day it's best to consume energy that is the most clean in the grid. And so basically really important, creating communities that are driven by a common passion of consuming clean energy and just be part of that clean revolution. So that's what we do at RedGrid, right? We enable people to change their behavior, to consume clean energy. We optimize energy usage in their homes. We also show the CO2 levels, that their homes is producing.
So you're able to
really bring awareness.
See it, huh? How are you able to detect it? That is really interesting.
Right, and that's part of the secret sauce that we have at RedGrid, right? is this ability to show the CO2 levels that both a simple device like this lamp that I have here is producing in terms of CO2 levels, but we can also kind of aggregate all that and say, hey, this neighborhood here in Melbourne, this is the amount of CO2 it is producing. So really being able to see granularly, but also all the way up to maybe a system, a community. And so really impart that change both from the person, but also to the whole community.
Yeah. So right now, are you also into, like, your house right now is into this clean energy more, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So my house is running on RedGrid. And basically what I do is that I every morning I get a message from RedGrid that says, hey, Marco, given your current location, the peak renewables in the grid are between, let's say, 10 and 2:40 p.m.
Can I also do that
then what
in
I
the
do,
Philippines?
we will. But right now, this is national only in Australia. But as soon as we're gonna expand, we'll come there in the Philippines.
Yeah, you're welcome to visit us here in Palawan. You want at the back? It's Palawan. It's true. I mean, it's a real picture of Palawan, how it is here.
And that's your office view, isn't it?
Yeah. So actually, Palawan is really a great startup even for clean environment, because it's very lush here. That's why I can totally resonate with what you are sharing to me, and I'm very excited. I'm very, 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 very excited. So anyway, my last question for you, Marco, is what is the best advice that you have received ever in your life that you have been living with right now?
I think one of the best advices that I received actually happened quite recently about 2 to 3 months ago, RedGrid was part of a global accelerator, and I was working very closely in that with Adam, and that program was incredible. It was like a month and a half where mentors across the world would come in and kind of look at RedGrid, see the strengths, kind of pick the weaknesses, say, hey, do this thing this way. And, you know, they are experts in any matter that is business related. And towards the end of the program, there was one of the lessons of the sessions, and it was about leadership, about vision. And Pat, the program coordinator, said this thing that just resonated so much with me. And he said, be as disarmingly human as often as you can. And to me, basically what it meant is that really have the strength to be vulnerable. Okay. And to me, you know, vulnerability, I always thought of it as some sort of, you know, not weakness, but okay, I have to be vulnerable only when I'm like, you know, in really bad situations, but really phrasing that into try as be vulnerable as many times as you can, because really that brings you the ability to connect with people on a different level. And let me tell you an example of kind of how I saw this pan out. I think it was 3 weeks ago. I was on a call with a really big client. Was a big account. That call, long story short, did not really go well. He was having questions. It was really hard for me to answer them. We just didn't connect as two people. And that doesn't really happen much to me. I'm normally like really open, finding quite easy to connect with people. It was really hard. And so I kind of waited for about 3 days to kind of send him a message. And then 3 days later, I opened my laptop. I was kind of typing the usual email, you know, thank you for chatting with me. If you think there is any value, you know, let me know. And then just before I sent that email, I stopped and I remembered, you know, what Pat said, you know, just be human, just be vulnerable. And I deleted the whole thing. And basically I wrote a very simple email that said, you know, the reason why I'm reaching out is because I think, you know, I left you with more questions and answers. Kind of, you know, I confused you and really did a poor job of explaining, you know, X, Y, Z. And then kind of continue saying, you know, I still think that what we're doing at RedGrid and what you guys are doing, it's incredibly, you know, beneficial for both of us. So, you know, let me know what you think. And after 45 seconds, he's an executive, so he's like super busy, but after 45 seconds, I got the email back. And he said, hi, Marco. And he said, hi, Marco, wow. And then he goes, I apologize. When we had the call, I had a bad day. Why don't we catch up over coffee and you come to the office and let's discuss. And right there, I just realized, you know, the magnitude of what I had learned, right? The power of being vulnerable. And wow. because that really allows you to be vulnerable, but because of reciprocity, if I'm vulnerable, you're going to be vulnerable with me. And so both of us are vulnerable. We just basically create a genuine relationship. And that's that's my mission, right? If you think about what I said before, what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to build great relationships. How do I do that? By being vulnerable. So I think, you know, Christine, if you ever had a chance, maybe try and dip your toes into vulnerability, and you will see amazing things happen to you.
Oh yeah, I totally believe in that. With my journey also at the opening of the heart space, that's the one that really connects people, you know. And I feel right now the world is shifting, and the world needs more and more leaders like you who has, you know, a conscious heart-spaced leader. Somebody who is really human in terms of connecting and conversing with people in any aspects. In any aspects, yeah, whether business or what, it doesn't matter.
And at the end of the day, right, we humans do business with humans, right? Organizations are just nothing more than just a bunch of humans coming together and creating something. so unless you're able to connect on a human level, then there is no real interaction worth having.
That's so true. the deep conversations comes when it's coming from the heart,
Yeah,
so
absolutely right.
I can really relate to what you said. Thank you for being vulnerable today. And thank you
Thank you.
for
No, thank you for
sharing,
allowing me
really.
to.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, well, thank you for
it's a
allowing me
safe
to.
space. So, you know, that's also one thing here in Symphony 7 that's really very unique that I saw. The group of people who we are together right now has been that kind of ingredient.
Hmm.
The consciousness and the heart space, the abundance even mindset. It's so embedded. The embodiment of those are here.
and 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 the key is to infect as many people as possible with that mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
With that mindset of
Exactly.
just be open, just be vulnerable, and let's get that virus
Yeah, let's
expanded.
get
It's a
that.
good thing.
Yeah,
Be
let's
vulnerable.
inject that. Yeah, I
That's
think
it.
this call will yes, we'll have to go up in the air later with YouTube, and I will let you know the link later, or maybe this week or tomorrow. But I'm sure that
Absolutely.
many
That's
people will
yes.
be relating to what we are talking about right now. And I'm very, very
Well,
excited, Marco, about how you
yes.
will share on the forum on September 10th.
I'm super excited to show you what we're doing. I think the vision that we have at RedGrid is really world changing.
Yes,
But
it
we
is
need
life
we need
changing.
we need we need every single person to come on board with us and change the world with us. So it's definitely a collective effort.
It is, it is. So thank you, Marco, again. And okay, so I'll end the call right now, but don't hang on. I'll stop the recording. Okay, hold on.
Okay, thank you, Kristen.